Good day, folks. This is Greg Judy, Green Pastures Farm. Today I'm with Steve Kenyon, and we're both up here in Edmonton at the Soil Health Conference. And Steve, you can tell a little bit about what you're about and where's your operation located at?
Okay, yeah, my name's Steve Kenyon. We're with actually Greener Pastures Ranching, similar names. My operation is about 45 minutes northwest of here, a little town called Busby, Alberta. And we do a custom grazing operation. We run about 1,400 head of cattle on about 3,000 acres. It's all leased land. So we don't own the cattle and we don't own the land.
That sounds familiar.
Little different setup than most farms, but yeah. Yeah, I'm really excited to have Greg Judy here at our conference. This is kind of our big show up here. This is a sold out show again. Over 500 people are in attendance, and I'm just so excited about the ripple effect, right? All these people in this conference listening to guys like Greg Judy, they're gonna go home and make changes, and it's getting bigger and badder and faster, right? These changes 20 years ago, this was like banging your head against the wall. And right now, I think we're at a point in our industry where it's taken a corner and it's taken a bit of a turn, and we're moving towards more regenerative management. And this is exciting to me to see all these people eager to learn.
Yeah, I think one of the take-home messages I saw today was, they were talking about soil health and soil biology, not geology. We got to get the soil alive again.
Yeah, no, I love that. I mean, if I could go back and maybe go back to school someday and start again when I was a kid, I would definitely want to be a microbiologist. But I remember taking microbiology in college, and I couldn't pronounce the words, I couldn't say the names, and I couldn't remember any of it. So that was the end of that. So when I talk about soil biology, it's critters and bugs, and I don't know my Latin names very well. So
yeah,
but I love them. I love them to death.
You're up here. You're only like 45 minutes here from Edmonton, right?
Yes.
So this is kind of your home base.
Yep, you bet.
Yep.
I mean, I've been coming to this conference. Well, they've been. It's kind of changed over the years, the names and the title, but I've been coming to this conference for like 25 years.
Really?
Yeah, it's been like very, very powerful. They kind of do it every second year normally, so it's not that I've been to it 25 times.
Right.
But it's just been amazing. I would say 80 to 90% of my education has come from conferences like this, and this is one of the big ones, obviously, I go to.
Yep.
The speakers and also the networking. The networking is so important at these things, being able to talk to like-minded people and get some great ideas. So yeah, these are very powerful. I highly recommend them.
One of the speakers I just heard, Shorty, forgot his last name.
Fensky. Shorty Fensky.
Fensky.
Yeah.
I had hair standing up on the back of my neck when somebody asked him the question, "What made you change?"
Yeah.
And he literally came out and said, if he was this close to bankruptcy.
Yep.
He was going to lose it.
That is so many producers. Over the last, I've been dealing with grazers and cattle people for so many years, but over the last 4 or 5 years, the number of grain farmers that now come to me and say, okay, explain to me what this regenerative stuff is, right? Like, that's exciting.
Yeah.
That to me is a huge change.
Yep.
And a lot of them, they'll admit to me that, well, because we're this close to bankruptcy, right? Like, we're this close to the bank coming in and taking everything. So we got to do something. And in a way, it's a good thing, but it's sad that we have to get to that point to realize that we need a change.
The pain.
Yeah. Like, everybody wants to go grazing when it's a drought year.
Well, it's interesting. You mentioned compaction of the soil, bringing cattle onto crop fields. That was one of the questions that they asked Shorty. Well, what do you do? Aren't you concerned about crop fields compaction? He goes, absolutely not. It's management. You don't have them out there in March when the frost is coming out of your ground.
Yeah, for sure. The one warning that I will do, because I've done that quite a few times, get cattle out on grainland, you have to have somewhere to go.
Yep.
Right? When it's, all of a sudden you get 2 inches of rain, you better have somewhere to go. A few years ago, I took over a piece of grainland. That's the only piece I had there. That was it. Like that, I didn't have anywhere to go, and that year was the wettest year we've ever had.
Oh my!
Right, just
goodness.
Bad timing. Like the 2 years before would have been great to establish that. So we did some damage. We had nowhere to go, and it's taken a few years. There's quite a few thistle out there now because we caused the compaction. So another piece the same year, We took it over, we broadcast and trampled. We did a 21 species mix, no fertilizer at all. We had grass standing, 4 feet tall.
My goodness.
And because there, we added a 60-acre piece of grain field to 1,100 acres of pasture. So there, I had the ability to go on there when it was dry.
Right.
If it started to rain, I could get them off. Right. So you've got to be careful, and like you said, it's management. But if you go into a situation where you're a grain farmer and you're going to completely switch, and we're going to put all this down to cover crops and graze it, well, what happens when you get that wet year? You're going to have trouble. So it's a management thing for sure.
Yep. Well, Shorty did wrap that up by saying, as soon as it got dry enough to get those cows back up, boy, he had them back out there.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't overestimate, he just couldn't say enough good about what the cattle biology was doing to that cropland.
The herbivore is a keystone species, right? They bring diversity.
Yep.
Just a real easy example of that, a cow patty is home for over 450 species, right? Without a cow patty, there's 450 species not in your system, right? Just like having a cow patty there, then all of a sudden they show up, right?
And the urine, he was talking about the urine.
Then that's where most of the nitrogen comes from.
Yep.
We talk about animal impact. It's one of our concepts that we talk about quite a bit, but for years, I only talked about the physical animal impact, right? That's the physical stimulation on the soil by their hooves, seed to soil contact. So you get new seedlings to germinate. You get break up capped soil. You push the forage down, right? That's all good. But the one thing that I kind of was overlooking was the biological animal impact, right? The manure, the urine, the food for biology and the biology, the saliva, the phlegm, the biology off their hair coat, right? There's a symbiotic relationship between the herbivore and the grass ecosystem, the soil, and without those animals out there, you don't get it.
Nope.
It's so important. So I'm really excited, actually. We have a bit of a government program going right now. It's the first time I've ever seen a government program that is allowing funding for perimeter fencing.
Oh, okay.
Right? To me, that's always been kind of something that's missing. Like, okay, you're going to fund something, we need to get cattle back out on grainland.
Yes.
Right? And as a grazer, can you go out and, try and, work with a grain farmer, but you have to put all that money into perimeter fencing, right? And grain guys are just taking fences out. So it's kind of an exciting thing for me is that they're actually noticing that the perimeter fences on grainland is important. So
yeah. Well, Steve, it's interesting that you say that. I can remember as a little kid, we moved out to the prairie in Missouri and grew up in the hills, went to the prairie, and every crop field had a fence on it. And in the corner of the field was a pond.
Yeah.
What was that pond there for? To water cattle.
Yeah.
And today those ponds are gone. They've pushed them in and the fence has been ripped out.
Yeah, that's happened to lots of land around me. I've actually lost, over my last 15 or 20 years, I've lost probably 9 quarters of land to a grain farmer, right? I fix them up and turn them into this beautiful ecosystem, and then somebody passes away, or the next generation takes over. They sell the land, it goes to a grain farmer, they rip it up, level it off, fill in the dugouts, fill in the creeks, bulldoze all the trees, and now they're eligible for carbon credits with their zero-till management? I don't think so, right? Like,
yeah,
it's sad, but I mean, it's part of life. It's just the way it goes. But it's a shame.
Yeah. Well, Steve, I appreciate you taking the time to visit with me, and it's been a real pleasure hearing about your operation and your philosophy. And folks, it's Steve Kenyon, and your website. You've got a website.
Yeah, Greener Pastures Ranching.
Greener Pastures Ranching, and your wife?
Amber Kenyon. Yeah,
Amber
and
Kenyon.
she's a videographer, so she's got all sorts of cool videos, and she puts a lot of videos actually on the Gateway Research Organization YouTube as well. So,
okay, cool.
So lots to see there.
All right, well, folks, on the way out, if you'd hit that subscribe button, that'd be awesome, and we'll see you folks down the road. Thank you all.